Good morning here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I'm Joel McCall, visiting now with Joe Czerniak. He is the head coach for the Central Riverhawks girls soccer program. Coach, first of all, thank you so much for joining me today. Do appreciate your time.
Not a problem.
Well, we can get into you guys, or the girls, I should say. 4-0-1 is the record. You're 1-0-1 in the Mississippi Valley, I believe. I think that's how it was anyway. I just looked at the standings just a little bit ago. Your tie was against Onalaska, so there's that tie in the Mississippi Valley. Your last win was actually last Friday. That was a 6-1 win over Prairie du Chien. Take me through the ball game a little bit, Coach, and how things have been going this season.
It's been a good start to the season, certainly. We're excited. We had a lot of returning players from last year's team. We've had a couple ninth graders come in and have some positive impacts on our season early. And it's been good. Obviously, it's been a difficult week after starting the season outside and then getting those 80-degree days and then having to postpone all our matches this week. Like you said, we haven't played in a week now, so we're looking forward to hopefully getting back out there and competing soon.
Well, you got 6 goals against Prairie du Chien. Actually, your offense has just been rolling pretty much the entire season, aside from the tie with Onalaska, which is 1-1. Who's been scoring a lot for you, and how have you been able to manufacture so many goals?
Our top 2 scorers so far this season are Kate Heiderscheit, a junior who's a all-conference performer, returning captain this year. So she's been kind of our engine in the center midfield. And then ninth grader Grace Wilkerson has been we've been fortunate enough to be able to throw her up top because we have a strong central midfield, and she's been able to create some scoring chances on the flanks for herself, as also set up her teammates. So we have a pretty well-balanced group offensively and strong returning group defensively. So it's worked out real well for us so far this season.
And I know that because of how the weather has been and you haven't been able to do a whole lot, how has practice been the last couple of days then? Have you been able to be outside at all? Has everything been inside? And what do you do when you're inside?
Yeah, so obviously we didn't have anything Monday, and then we had a very nice day Tuesday. A lot of stuff melted, but it wasn't enough to quite get on the grass. So we actually just went for a nice long team run and went to the Pearl for some ice cream. So did some team bonding and do that. So keep the kids having some fun. And Wednesday we were able to get out down on the football field. It's not a ideal size or space or surface, but it's, again, I always tell the kids it's better to be outside for half an hour than inside for 2. So, we just make the most of whatever we're afforded, and grateful for our track and field program who's willing to accommodate us and host. And so far, no one's got hit with the ball on the track, so that's been good. So we're just controlling what we can control and having fun doing it.
When you are in this type of environment where it is kind of cold and wet and whatnot, I mean, what's the things that you specifically work on, especially in the grass? Because if you're on turf, I know how much faster that ball can move. So the game almost moves faster, of course, when you're on the turf. And if here you are practicing on grass all the time, how do you manufacture things of that nature when it comes to a game situation, if the surface might be a little bit different when we finally get back out into a match?
I mean, we've been fortunate to be able to train and play on multiple surfaces. We have the grass on our football field. We've got out maybe 2 or 3 times at the fields for kids, before the winter weather hit, and that's grass. But we've also been able to train and play on Logan's Field a bit. We've played at UWL earlier this season. So kids adjust, it's not something where we solely play on one and then have to all of a sudden adapt to it. We've actually kind of gone back and forth quite a bit, training on different surfaces. So it's been not really an issue for us so far.
Yeah, that's good. And again, hopefully you'll get practice in today. I know it's not ideal as far as warmth, but it's not too bad. And
Oh yeah, we don't mind it. Yeah, for sure.
right, exactly. Well, you started out the season with 3 shutouts. That was over Melrose, Mindoro/GET. Also beat Arcadia and West Salem. Goaltending, obviously everybody talks about it and how important it is. Who is goaltending for Central Riverhawks right now, and how's she doing?
Our goalkeeper this year is Laura Lapp. she's a sophomore. She's replacing Ella Lindsay, who graduated last year for us and was in net for the previous several seasons. So we've had some adjustments to make, but she's been working hard and doing a nice job. And we have 3 returners on our back 4 in front of her, and they've been doing a nice job of limiting opponents' opportunities. So she hasn't had to make a ton of saves, but she's made the ones we needed her to, and that's what we expect from our goalkeeper is to, not let in bad goals and save the ones you're supposed to. And she's been doing a nice job of that so far as she's learning the position, getting more comfortable, getting more experienced, and she's only going to get better, and that's good for us.
Well, and again, as you said, you've got some experience in front of her. In fact, that was my next question, was the back end, because those 4 defenders are so crucial. Who is kind of stepping up leader and communication wise back there too? Because if you have an inexperienced goalie who's kind of learning on the fly, you got to have somebody communicating all the time.
Yeah, we have 3 returners that started for us last year, played a ton of minutes. Maddie Biondo, Katie Biondo, Gianna Buhan, and they played together in the offseason as well. So they have a good rapport, good chemistry. Brianna Grilly has stepped in as a sophomore here, replacing graduated senior Grace Stickman, and she played good varsity minutes for us as a freshman last year. So she's experienced and not as experienced as those other 3, but she's coming along and done real well for us, and they're meshing real nicely so far this season, especially compared to the beginning of last season. There was a lot more coaching and adjustments that needed to be made, but obviously, when you have that experience, they know what they're doing back there, so it's been good.
Well, again, we're talking with Joe Czerniak. He is the head coach for girls soccer for Central. I want to ask you about the tie then with Onalaska. What was that match like? And did you have opportunities late, or did they score late? How'd it go?
Yeah, I mean, it was, a great battle between 2 very good teams. And those kids play a lot of club together. So, we're all real familiar with one another, but, we had a good chance early that their keeper made a good save on, and then they hit the post, and then they got one in on us. And then, we equalized shortly before half, and we were going into the win the first half, and both teams had a number of chances. I think we probably left a few out there that we're kicking ourselves over, no pun intended. So I thought we had opportunities to win the game, and I'm sure they feel the same way. So it was a fair result, and one we'll take. It's tough to play on the road. It's tough to be down a goal against probably one of the favorites in the league, and early in the season, that's a good result, especially after a hard fought match 2 nights earlier against West Salem. So
Right.
it was a good battle, and hopefully our paths cross again.
Beat West Salem prior to that, as you said. I think that was 4-0, if memory serves correctly. And
Right.
well, we kind of highlighted some other individuals and whatnot. How about a surprise person that's kind of really stepped up this season so far, Coach?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily a surprise. But one person we've really relied upon is Avery Bosshard, playing as a holding center midfielder. She was an all-conference performer last year as a freshman, but as a sophomore, we really have asked a lot of her against some of the better teams we played, West Salem, Onalaska, dealing with, their primary attacking players. And she's stepped up and done a great job on the opponent's best players in those 2 matchups. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but it's been, very, very helpful to our success to have her step up in that role.
Sometimes those midfielders where they don't score a lot, they don't get a lot of love either. It's kind of like a setter in volleyball, they do their job, and then everybody talks about the hit and not actually the setup, and kind of the same thing with midfielders. So take me through a little bit of the MVC. I know you have a lot of competition coming up, and you're going to squeeze in, just like softball, as I talked to Coach Colburn last night, you're going to squeeze a lot of matches into a short amount of time prior to getting ready for the postseason. So I know you have some conference matchups soon. How about the Mississippi Valley overall in that competition?
Yeah, it's a very competitive league. Said a lot of those girls play with one another in clubs, so a lot of experience. Soccer's good. 5 of the 8 teams in our regional are MVC teams, so we're all real familiar with one another. And every night's a battle. Kids play hard. It's good competition, and a lot of times in soccer, people look at the box score and probably have misguided notions of how things win. So even, sure, we defeated West Salem 4-0, but that doesn't reflect how competitive that match actually was. Sometimes it's just a bounce here or there, and it can look a lot different on paper than the reality of going at it for 80 minutes. So yeah, there's no easy win in our league for sure.
Well, I know you got, I believe it's Holman on Tuesday, Sparta Thursday, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So two more tough matches. Like I said, there's no easy ones, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
it goes down. Yeah.
Those are happening on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. And then you'll be hosting Aquinas on May 1st. That's a Monday, followed by Logan/Luther. That's on Tuesday, May 2nd. That's the game I believe that Nami and I are going to try to do. Because it sounds like they have a press box. I know that that's kind of the downfall of your home field, right, Coach? This is your essentially just have a giant field, right? That's kind of your home field, right?
Yeah, so Fields for Kids, they do a great job of maintaining it out there. It's what the local soccer club uses. Out of their control, it just happens to be in that floodplain. So sometimes, it's just a matter of not being able to use it, or it's not, how we would like it to be. But we've been fortunate to be able to use Logan from time to time when they're not using it, and that's been, great for us, because otherwise some of those matches that need to be rescheduled, the can gets kicked even further down the road. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, can't control what you can't control. So
No, for sure. Well, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because the field for kids would be very difficult for anyone to try and broadcast from because there's no press box and then things like that. So that's why
yeah.
At Logan coming up on May 2nd, if the weather holds, please hold. These kids need to play. They want to get their seasons done and get into that postseason with a few more wins underneath their belt. And we wish you guys the best of luck, Coach Czerniak. Thank you so much for joining me. Do really appreciate your time, and enjoy your weekend and get back out on the pitch next week and take care of some business.
I appreciate it. Good chatting with you.
Yeah, you bet. That's Joe Czerniak, then the head coach for Central Girls Soccer. We're hopefully with one more over the weekend, so we'll have one more interview taking place this weekend here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I'm Joel McCall. Thank you so much for tuning in.